welcome to WiseTake.com. This is CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And yes, we are bringing you another NBA DFS podcast. It is Monday, February 6, 2017. It's the day after Super Bowl Sunday. And what a Super Bowl it was. I think one thing that we all know is Tom Brady is the GOAT. And I think that he reconfirmed that for us last night. What an amazing victory for the Patriots. Listen, I'm a better Jet fan, so I was rooting for the Falcons as hard as you could possibly root for a team that's not your team. And Tom Brady made it happen. So whether you agree or not, I feel confident in that statement. Tom Brady is the GOAT. He's greatest of all time. Phenomenal player. In my opinion, that was the best Super Bowl that I've watched in my lifetime. It was the best Super Bowl since, I think, in my opinion, the Titans and Rams back in the day, right? And just a phenomenal performance. Just absolutely phenomenal. And if you had any kind of correlation with Atlanta, I feel horrible for you. Atlanta fans, I feel your pain. I feel sorry for you. Listen, I'm a Jet fan. Brady gets me twice a year. You know, he gets me twice a year. He embarrasses us. So tough break. Phenomenal catch by Julian Edelman too, by the way. What a catch! Wow. How did Atlanta let that happen? They had 3 defenders. How did they let that happen? What? But anyway, phenomenal game. Awesome game to watch. It was my niece's first Super Bowl, and it will certainly be a Super Bowl that I'll never forget. Wow, it was just it was a privilege to be able to watch something like that. Super Bowl going to overtime. Hey, wow. Great performance. And all right, we're here to talk about the NBA. So one more time, Tom Brady's the GOAT. Done. Okay. So we got a lot of things to talk about today. We've got an 11-game slate after we were off over the weekend. Real quick, before we touch on the NBA, I do know the WiseTake is currently under maintenance. We are currently refunctioning the whole site, trying to make it a little bit more appealing, maybe a little more easier to understand and use, and a little more simplified, because I feel like sometimes there's a lot going on there. So it is down for the moment. We're doing maintenance. We will be back. It shouldn't be too long. We're just trying to figure out a couple things. The podcast will still be going regardless of when the site's back up, but I'm hoping the site will be back up by tonight or tomorrow at some point. So that's what I'll be working on today. That's what I've been working on lately, and we'll certainly keep you posted with that. But don't be alarmed. We're not going anywhere. We will be back, and our tools will be back as well. But we have an 11-game slate, and after taking the weekend off, we didn't miss much. There was only 3 games yesterday for Super Bowl Sunday, so we do have a lot to get through today. So instead of going the traditional position by position where I just name off all the players I think are in play, I'm going to start off going through this monster list I have of potential injuries and talk about what strategies we can implement if these guys are playing, if they're not playing, where to go, where to pivot, just in general. We're going to run through that, and if I have time, maybe I'll give out a couple plays that I did like, but there's just too many plays to get through in 30 minutes. There's just too much. So anyway, let's get started. We're going to start off with some injury news, like I said. Kyrie Irving is probable with a quad injury. Kyrie Irving has a matchup against Washington. They're on the road. If Kyrie plays, I'm not too big on Kyrie necessarily against Wall, and that's mainly because I think that John Wall's actually been a pretty good defender lately. Do I think Wall is a good defender always? No, but Washington's red hot, especially at home. They've been playing phenomenally. So I think this is a great spot to target this game in general. I think it's a phenomenal game to target. I will say that if Kyrie plays, I like Wall a little bit more. If Kyrie is out, we've seen Liggins play, and Liggins is in my opinion, Liggins seems to be a better defender than Kyrie. As good as Kyrie is offensively, he's been that bad defensively. So if Kyrie plays, I think it's more so I like Wall. But if Kyrie is out, you gotta like LeBron and Love, especially Kevin Love. If Kyrie's out, I really like Kevin Love. But he's probable with a quad. We'll see what happens there. Julius Randle's probable. He's got pneumonia. I mean, the guy has pneumonia, and he keeps trying to play. He missed a few games. He missed the last game, and then before that, it was a back-to-back. So on the back end of the back-to-back, he didn't play at all. On the front end of the back-to-back, he tried to play, and he played 6 minutes against Washington. So if you feel comfortable giving a guy like that some run, be my guest. Maybe in GPPs, because you think people will be. He's extremely cheap today. I will say that. I think he's like 5.7 on DraftKings or something like that. I think I have it over here, but I have to say his price makes you really want to consider him. Yeah, he's 5.7 on DK. The price alone makes you want to consider him just because you know what his upside is, and you know how reliant they are on a guy like him in that offense. If D'Angelo Russell can't get it going, they have to go to Randall. And the Knicks are obviously a good team to target big men against, especially down low in the post. And we know Joakim Noah is out. Joakim Noah is expected to be out, so we're going to have Kyle O'Quinn and Hernan Gomez. Kyle O'Quinn, in my opinion, is a little bit more physical. He's definitely a little more physical. The problem is he gets into foul trouble a lot. Hernan Gomez is very good offensively, and he seems to be a very smart kid when he plays. Problem with Hernan Gomez is he's not too strong yet. So if you noticed against Atlanta, they didn't want to play him. They had to play him because they went to so many overtimes, and both of their other centers fouled out, but they really didn't want to play him. So they're concerned about guys bullying him down low. I don't think that's the problem with the Lakers. But regardless, I think Randall's got a pretty good matchup against Porzingis. So Porzingis, a lot of people seem to think Porzingis is really good at defense because he gets a lot of blocks. But against these guys that are a little bit shorter than him, he seems to lack a speed edge. Like, for instance, when you watched Harrison Barnes play him a couple times this year, Harrison Barnes blows right by this dude. So Porzingis is not very good defensively. And if you look at the DVP numbers, they'll kind of agree with that. The Knicks are one of the worst teams against power forwards, and that's Porzingis' spot. And he hasn't missed enough games to where you can say, oh, well, maybe he wasn't. That's because he was out for such and such. He hasn't missed that many games. So I think Randall's in a good spot. It's just, can you trust a guy that has pneumonia? That's the question. I guess it's a matter of finding out how healthy he is. My understanding is that he practiced in full yesterday. So I would expect him to get a decent run. I can't trust that in cash games, even though at his price, I would love to plug him in cash. I just can't trust the fact that the guy has pneumonia. But in GPPs, he'll make a couple of my lineups just because I think people, like I just said, I also happen to think, I think people will agree. I think people will also feel a little bit weird about playing him, and I think they'll stay away. So I think he's certainly in play. Like we said, we talked about Joakim Noah. He's expected to miss with a hamstring. So you could fire up your Hernan Gomez shares. You can fire up your Kyle O'Quinn shares. I like Kyle O'Quinn a lot today. He's super cheap, and he's a lot more physical. So if he can stay out of foul trouble, he should get decent run here. Just because without Noah, they're going to have to play O'Quinn and Hernan Gomez. Now, Hernan Gomez had a price increase. He's up to like 5.3, and I understand. He's been killing it lately. He's in a position where he should play a good amount of minutes. I do like Hernan Gomez a lot. I'm just saying, in GPPs, or if you think Kyle O'Quinn is going to get at least 20 to 25 minutes, we've seen what he's capable of with those amount of minutes. So I think Kyle O'Quinn is certainly a good play, and he's significantly cheaper. He's in the threes. He's close to the bare minimum on DraftKings. So, and on FanDuel too, I think he's close. I think he's like 41 on FanDuel. I'm not positive, but on DraftKings he's like 3.8, something like that. So I definitely think both of those centers are in play. I love both of those centers. Hernan Gomez is going to be the guy that I'll probably put in cash if I go that route because he's cheap. Centers a position where we have options, but we don't have too many options in that tier. That level tier in that 5 range, that midish, lowish kind of tier, there's not a lot of options. So I do love Kyle O'Quinn, and I love Hernan Gomez today. It's just a matter of which one's going to get the run. Yeah, we know Hernan Gomez is going to start, but we've seen from Hornacek that doesn't always mean that he's going to get the run. So it depends on who gets the run here. But one of those guys is going to make it happen. Hey, maybe play them both. Maybe they'll both make it happen, right? Anyway, Derrick Rose is probable with an ankle against the Lakers. If Rose plays, that's the end of our Jennings streak. It was fun while it lasted. I had a blast playing Jennings, man. They kept raising his price. I didn't care, man. I'm going to keep playing him. I'm going to keep playing him because the guy's he's going to play 34, 35, 36 minutes. I mean, the guy's minutes. Let's take a look at his minutes lately. And this is why that even at his price increase. Now, Brandon Jennings, he's 6'5" on FanDuel today. He's 6'8" on DraftKings. But if Rose ends up not playing, I'm still going to play the dude. Do I think Jennings is a phenomenal ball player? Not necessarily, but he's certainly competent enough. I mean, look at his game log. 42 minutes against Cleveland, 43 against Brooklyn, 38 against Washington, 53 against Atlanta. Since Rose has been out, Jennings has been on the floor almost the entire game, night after night after night. If Rose is out, you have to play Jennings. I don't care if he goes up to 7K, 7.5K, maybe 8K, I would think otherwise. But as long as he's under 8, man, if Rose ain't going to play, Hornacek showed you Jennings is his guy. So I like Jennings a lot, only if Rose is out. However, Rose is probable, and that's why I think that this might be where it ends. We might have had our last game against Cleveland of playing Jennings, and it's sad. It's sad because it was a lot of fun. But we'll see. Like I said, if Rose is out, I'm firing Jennings away. If Rose plays, I will consider Rose and GPPs, but like I said, I don't. You know how I am, guys. I don't like playing guys that are fresh off an injury. I just don't. He missed a few games already, so I'm not. I'm not dying to play him, but his price is certainly at a point where he's considerable, especially if you're trying to save some money at the point guard position. Um, but yeah, I mean, listen, if he doesn't play, you fire away Jennings. If he does play, maybe look elsewhere, I guess. I mean, listen, Rose is in a great matchup. This is a perfect, ideal matchup for him. A team that lacks a rim protector. Rose is not a jump shooter. He likes to drive to the hole. D'Angelo Russell ain't going to stop him or anybody else from driving to that hole. So I think Rose is in a great matchup. I'm just concerned, A, what are his minutes going to be coming back from an injury? 2, is he going to be a little rusty coming back from an injury? Those are the things that worry me, but definitely worth something to keep an eye on. Thaddeus Young is questionable with a wrist injury against Oklahoma City, and I'll admit completely, I missed the boat last time when Thad Young was out. I don't remember exactly when it was, but I certainly missed the boat. And this kid, Lavoy Allen, crushed it. He's 35 on FanDuel. I'm sure he's probably around the minimum on DraftKings. I didn't write his price down. But Lavoy Allen, he played 32 minutes against Detroit and got 39.7 FanDuel points. On DraftKings, he got the double-double bonus because he had 18 actual points and 11 rebounds. What a game. I mean, wow. Listen, the reason I didn't play him, and listen, I'm the guy that always says, hop on these value guys when you know they're going to get run. And I didn't follow my own rule. And the reason I didn't follow my own rule is because, 1, I bit on the Memphis value guys, which dudded on me. And 2, I looked at his projected points per minute, and it was pretty low. It didn't seem like he was a big producer. Clearly, I was wrong. He was a phenomenal rebounder. He got a lot of open looks. Detroit kind of ignored him and just let him do whatever he wanted. So if Thaddeus Young is out, he's cheap enough that you have to fire away. He showed us he can at least get boards. So it's not just about scoring. He can get boards. He can play. So if Thad Young is out, I will not be making that mistake again. I will be firing up Lavoy Allen for sure. Let's see. Anybody else worth mentioning? DeMar DeRozan is questionable with an ankle injury. Obviously, DeMar DeRozan, whether he plays or not, even if he plays, I'm not going to be playing DeRozan. It's just not a spot that I think I want to go. I'm just not interested. Why I care so much about this injury is because it's going to determine how much I like Lowry. So with CP3 out, who's going to cover Lowry? Rivers and Felton. I'm not afraid of either of them as far as covering Lowry. The thing is with Lowry is his price is up so high that I only want to play him if I know DeRozan's going to be out. I only want to play him if he's going to get that same usage he's been getting lately. So if DeRozan is in, I'm not crazy about Lowry. I'll probably still play him, but I'm not crazy about him. If DeRozan is out, I love Lowry. But that's all that matters. I don't like DeRozan either way. Whether obviously if he doesn't play, I can't play him. But if he plays, I'm not crazy about DeRozan either way. I just think that it's going to heavily impact my decision on Kyle Lowry, and I think that's the way it's going to go across the board. But even if DeRozan does play, I always like to do this too. If DeRozan does play, the ownership for Lowry is going to sink a little bit, and his ownership isn't going to be too high to begin with just because it's an 11-game slate. There's so many options. I don't think anybody's going to be too chalky, and maybe a guy like Westbrook or something like that. But there's so much money you have to spend for at each position. I don't think guys are going to – there's not going to be like a mega chalk guy. Unless it's a value guy like Lavoy Allen or something like that. But, that's different. That's value. Sometimes you got to play the chalk with value. But yeah, that's – so, that's certainly some impactful news. Rodney Hood is out indefinitely. So with Rodney Hood out, we expect guys like Gordon Hayward to get a usage bump, right? And a guy I want to talk about, Gordon Hayward's certainly in play today. I'll mention that real quick. I think his usage is fine. And they're against Atlanta. If Thabo plays, then I'll like Hayward a little bit less because it's already a weird pace game. It's a slow pace game. Both of these teams are two of the slower pace teams in the league. They've been two of the better defensive teams. Utah is always pretty good on defense, and lately Atlanta's been pretty good on defense. So it's not a game I'm crazy about targeting, but it is a situation where I think the ownership will be low. I don't think people are going to be rushing to target this game. And one guy that I thought was interesting, George Hill. George Hill has not been playing well, but his minutes have been there. But he's only like 5'8" on each side. That's extremely cheap for a guy with his upside. In his last contest, he got like 20-something actual points, but he had like one rebound, 1 assist, and that was it. That's unlike him. He's going to turn it around eventually, and he's going to go to his own ways, his old ways. When that happens, you want to be on that train. And I can tell you what, his matchup today, it could certainly happen. I love targeting guards against Atlanta in general, especially point guards. So I think George Hill's in a phenomenal spot with Hood out. And at that price, you got to consider. With that said, the same thing I said about Thabo. Thabo is questionable. I'm not going to mess around and try to play Bazemore. I mean, maybe Hardaway you consider. With Hood out, you can certainly consider Hardaway. With Hood out, that puts Hardaway in a phenomenal spot, actually, because that means he's going to have, he's going to have Ingles on him. Ingles ain't bad. He's not too bad. That could be bad chalk there. Hardaway may be popular because he's been playing so well if Thabo is out. If Thabo plays, it's just going to make me not like Hayward as much. But if Thabo is out, I will like Hayward. That's pretty much the gist of that one. And either way, I like Hood. Let's see. Robert Covington's questionable with a hand injury. He's been playing extremely well before he got hurt. He did miss a couple games, so I don't think I'm going to be too big on him, especially if he has an injured hand. I don't know how that's going to affect his shooting or just the way he handles the ball in general. I think more so what this is going to do, Covington out will make me like Illy that much more, and maybe Noel if Okafor's out. We'll talk about that later. But I definitely think that – okay. No, we'll talk about it now. So Covington's questionable. Jahlil Okafor is questionable. Joel Embiid's expected to be out. So let's analyze the situation. If Covington plays, he's been playing extremely well lately. I think he's okay. If Covington does play, I'm not too big on Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris has also been playing extremely well for Detroit, but Covington's been playing. He's actually been playing pretty good defense lately. So I'm not too big on Marcus if Covington plays. If Covington is out, I will like Marcus a little bit because he has been playing so well recently. So he'll be somebody I have to consider. Now, if Covington is out, I already like Ilyasova a lot. I love Ilyasova. I'll talk about him real quick. Stretch fours against Detroit is a real thing. It's a true thing, and it's a great thing. And they haven't played against too many of them lately, so I think people might have forgotten a little bit about that trend. I'm going to be all over Illy today, and his price is not bad. I think on DraftKings it's like 6.3. I'm fine with that. I'll pay that all day for a guy with Embiid. If Embiid was playing, maybe not so. I would still like Illy because of the stretch four thing, but not as much. But in this situation where Embiid is out, I love Illy today. And the fact that Okafor is also questionable. If Okafor misses, you could potentially look at taking a guy like Noel and Illy. And if Covington is out, that's their whole offense at that point, right? So I really like Ilyasova today. If Covington misses, I might have a little exposure to Marcus Morris. If Jahlil Okafor misses, I may increase my exposure to Nerlens Noel. But regardless of who plays, I don't care if Covington plays or not, I like Ilyasova a lot today. And that could burn me. Ilyasova's burned me before. I'm still going to take my chances on the guy. He takes a lot of shots, especially with Embiid out. He's going to chuck. I want guys that are going to take those shots. If I lose because they had a bad game and they went 0 for 30, so be it. At least they took 30 shots. You know what I mean? So, anyway, Rodney McGruder's questionable with an illness. That doesn't really attract me all that much. Zach LaVine is out for the season. So let's talk about how this affects. This team. First of all, it's a shame. It's a shame. I pull for Minnesota. I really do. I like to see these teams that try to go younger. I like to see these teams try to change it up and really try to make a difference. I like to see it, and it's a shame when a guy like, with his talent, Zach LaVine gets hurt. Now, his performance lately before the injury was slipping. I will say that. He wasn't putting up good. In the beginning of the season, he was like a cash game lock. You put him in there, you know he's going to play minutes with Tibbs, and he's going to keep getting the production. That hasn't been the case lately at all. Not at all. He's been struggling. And I don't know. I mean, maybe his knee was kind of getting worn, and that's why the ACL finally snapped. I don't know. I'd love to make excuses, but it is a true shame that this kid is out for the season because I think Minnesota was doing some interesting stuff. I liked watching him. I liked playing him. But it is what it is. He's out. He's out for the season. How does this affect, not only in this spot necessarily, but how does this affect them going forward? Well, when I ran my numbers, what I found was that Wiggins is actually the benefactor of this. Wiggins should be the guy that gets the largest usage bump. Now, obviously, in my opinion, Cat's the main guy in town around there. He's the guy that runs Minnesota, and he certainly does, and he always will. He's a phenomenal presence, a phenomenal player. But Wiggins is also, they're pretty much, they're true. Him and Rubio are the only true scoring wings they have there. So I think it makes perfect sense that his usage is going to go way up. So in this matchup, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not too crazy about the matchup here against Miami here, just because both of these teams are one of the slow, or a couple of the pace down teams in the league. So I'm not crazy about it. But going forward in general, you can certainly play Wiggins today. I'm just saying going forward in general, keep an eye on Wiggins, especially if his price doesn't skyrocket. Keep an eye on him because with LaVine out, as far as what I've seen of what they've done so far this year with LaVine out, Wiggins is the guy that gets a big bump. It's over 30. It's over in the 30s. So usage wise, so I definitely think Wiggins is a guy we're gonna have to pay attention to going forward. You can play him today. Now the impact I think it has, I'm a little concerned now that they may put Wiggins on Dion Waiters. And that's gonna, if they do that, that'll suck because I like playing Waiters. I told you guys, told you about his quote. I told you in the other podcast. He said he'd rather go over 30 than over 9. So hey, if that's gonna be your mentality, I'm just gonna keep playing you. Am I concerned about the matchup? Yeah, a little bit. I'm concerned they might stick Wiggins on him. I don't think they're gonna put Brandon Rush on him. Brandon Rush is the guy that's been starting for LaVine, or the guy that's supposed to be continuing to start. He just doesn't really do anything for me. You know what I mean? He's cheap. Don't get me wrong, but in this matchup is what I'm referring to. In this matchup, he doesn't do much for me. Now, he played 24 minutes against Memphis, and he got 7.6 FanDuel points. I'm not going to hold it completely against him on that just because it was Memphis. But the last time he got a full run, he played 40 minutes against Oklahoma City, and he only got 23.3 FanDuel points. That wasn't 40 minutes. So Rush is not exactly one of those scrubs that I want to run over to right away. Is there going to be a matchup one day where he could potentially crush? Probably. Is that going to happen today? Probably not. I don't think it's going to happen. It could, and if Brandon Rush goes off, I will lose because I'm really not going to play this guy. I would rather just play Wiggins, and I'm not crazy about the matchup in general. And especially in this game, I think the centers are really the guys you want to really target in this game, right? Other than maybe Dragic. But yeah, so the Zach LaVine news is big news because it's not just a temporary thing. It's going to change the way we approach Minnesota in general. Not just how we attack, how we play Minnesota players, but how we attack Minnesota is also going to change a little bit because now LaVine, who's a pretty good defender, is gone. So we have Wiggins and we have LaVine, and LaVine's going to have to pick one guy to cover. That's the reason I think he's going to cover Waiters because Waiters is the scoring threat, and whether Ellington plays or not at the 3, they don't really I don't know, there's no real 3 that they have to worry about. It's pretty much just Whiteside, Dragic, and Waiters. Those are pretty much the guys. So you figure Rubio will be on Dragic. He has to be. Not that Rubio's a good defender, so Dragic's in a good matchup. And then you figure I would imagine they'll put Rush on Ellington if Ellington plays, or whoever the 3 is, and they'll put Wiggins on Waiters. It just seems like the natural move. So that kind of stinks because I love playing Waiters, but I do respect the Wiggins defense. So am I going to have exposure to Waiters? Absolutely. I'm not going to avoid him completely. He's going to still take his shots. Am I going to plug him in cash? I don't know. I want to. I really want to, but I don't know. I think you can put Wiggins in cash just because his minutes are so secure and his usage is up. I think Wiggins is a fine play. But anyway, that's where we're at with Zach LaVine. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on. Anthony Davis is probable with a hip injury. It seems like he's always on the injury report. I know that. And recently he pulled another stunt where everybody, people locked him in, thought he was going to play, and then he ended up not playing. Great matchup. Phenomenal matchup against Phoenix. I think Holiday's in a good spot. Drew Holiday is in a very good spot here. I love Drew Holiday today. I think that Anthony Davis if he plays, he's in a great spot. Phenomenal spot. Now let's just talk about if he doesn't play. Because if he plays, you kind of know play him. I think if Anthony Davis doesn't play, it almost makes this game way more targetable. And that I think Holiday becomes an elite play if Anthony Davis is out. I think Tyreek Evans is an interesting play with Anthony Davis out. And more importantly, that means you can play Terrence Jones. Any Terrence Jones day is a good day. You tell me Anthony Davis is out, I am firing away Terrence Jones, especially because Phoenix is terrible against power forwards, and that's it. I'm calling it a wrap. 100% lock button on Terrence Jones, and that's it. Now, do I think Anthony Davis is going to play? Yes. I think he's probable, first of all. Second of all, the dude has this tag on him every single game, and he still ends up playing most of the time. So is there a risk? Absolutely. Is the matchup juicy and make me salivate in the DFS wise, absolutely. I'm salivating right now. So I definitely think that AD is a phenomenal play. But if he were to not play, that would certainly open up a lot of things on the New Orleans side against the Pelicans. Real quick, while we're talking about this game, it has nothing to do with injury. I just wanted to mention, I think Eric Bledsoe's in a phenomenal spot today. On FanDuel, he's way too expensive, but on DraftKings, I love Eric Bledsoe today. Just throwing that out there. I think it's like 7-9 on DraftKings. I don't know why he got so cheap. It's a pace-up spot. And granted, Jrue Holiday has been known as a decent defender, but lately he has not been a good defender. If you look at the DVP charts, they have fallen so far on that DVP chart for point guards. It's getting a little ridiculous. So I do like Bledsoe a lot. Anyway, we're going to move on here. So with D-Well out, J.J. Barrera out, we don't know for sure. Well, I know Boreas should be out. D-Well, I'm not positive. Last I seen, he was out indefinitely. But obviously, these things change. So make sure anything we're talking about today, I'm recording this in the morning. So it's well before lock. I did my research the night before, so things could have changed by now already. So you want to make sure that you're keeping up with the injury news. I like to follow Fantasy Labs on Twitter. It's at Fantasy Labs NBA, and they're great as far as injury news, rest news, and all that. They're phenomenal. They usually know the answers to the stuff that we don't. So I think it's a phenomenal source. But anyway, if Darren Williams is out and JJ Barrera out, if they're out. Obviously, Yogi. Hey, boo-boo. Love Yogi, man. And you know what? I'm going to rant real quick. What's up with Brooklyn? How did Brooklyn cut this dude, man? Somebody explain to me, who on Brooklyn decided, okay, this guy's got no talent. Did they watch what he did at Indiana? This kid was a star. He was their star player at Indiana. He did some phenomenal things in Indiana. And then you got Brooklyn, who they have no point guard. Lynn is out, and now they have Isaiah Whitehead, which nothing against Whitehead. He had a phenomenal year in college, too, at Seton Hall. He did great things. But then Spencer Dinwiddie. Why would you get rid of Yogi? Look what Yogi Ferrell's doing. All he needed was an opportunity. That's all the kid needed was an opportunity, and he got that. And he got that from Dallas. And now Mark Cuban's going to pick up the ball and run with it. That's the bottom line. He's extremely young. He's a rookie. He's phenomenal player. And he's been crushing it. And you know what? His price has certainly gone up. He's $6K on DraftKings. And you know what? Devin Harris is probable. So there's potential that could cut into his minutes and maybe even Seth Curry's minutes. Because these are the two guys that directly get affected, right? Seth Curry and Yogi Ferrell. There's obviously correlation effects with like Barnes and things like that as far as usage. But the bottom line is it directly affects Yogi and it directly affects Seth Curry. But the thing is with Devin Harris is even if he plays, he's only going to play about 20 minutes. So I think it may cut into Seth Curry's minutes a little bit more than it would cut into Yogi's minutes. And we even saw Seth Curry only played 29 minutes against Portland. That's it. But Yogi played a lot. So I love Yogi. As long as those 2 point guards are out, give me all the Yogi. I'll keep taking some Yogi. Give me more Yogi. Give me some of that honey. Give me some of the picnic basket, all day. That was a horrible Yogi impression, I know. But yeah, I'm a big Yogi guy. I loved watching him in college, and I'm hoping he keeps this run going, man. I'd love to see this kid just take off. And as long as he's as cheap as he is and he's going to keep playing those minutes, I don't think you understand why Yogi has been such a good play. Remember what we always say on the podcast, minutes equals money, right? That's something that I know a lot of guys like to say. Minutes equals money. Well, let's take a look as I wait for this to load of Yogi Ferrell's minutes recently, right? So let's see. Since he's been forced into the starting lineup, 36 minutes against San Antonio, 38 against Cleveland, 38 against Philly, 39 against Portland. This guy is going to play. And even with Harris back, he should still be getting at least 34 or so minutes. So give me the Yogi. Is it expensive to pay? Yeah. Could he dud on me? Of course. He could certainly dud on me. But if he's going to be playing above 35 minutes or higher every game, to me it's worth the risk. Did I like him better when he was cheaper? Absolutely. Of course I liked him better when he was cheaper. Am I still going to like him today? Yeah. Could he dud on me today? Of course. His matchup is phenomenal against Denver, though, and I'm not passing it up. Is he going to be chalky? Probably. He's been a pretty hot topic. The DFS world is very trendy. Who's the trendy player? Yogi's the trendy player. So either way, that's my quick Yogi rant. I do like Yogi a lot. Moving on to the same game, Danilo Gallinari expected to be out. Oh, I forgot to mention a couple of things. Andrew Bogut's questionable with a hamstring. So if Andrew Bogut doesn't play, there's really nobody to stop Jokic. So I'll say that real quick. Danilo Gallinari is out with a groin. He's got a great matchup against Dallas, but he's not playing. So Wilson Chandler is going to soak up all the minutes here, and I think Chandler is certainly in play here. And I don't see anybody out there who's going to stop him. They could try to put Harry Barnes on him, but Harry Barnes has been playing. If Bogut plays, Barnes will cover Chandler, which will maybe not like Chandler so much. But if Bogut is out, Dirk will play the 5, Barnes will play the 4, which means Chandler gets the 3 against like a Dorian Finney-Smith or a Wes Matthews or something like that. So I definitely think that that Bogut playing or not does have a direct impact on Wilson Chandler's performance. So keep that in mind. Let's see. I think that's it for that game. Jokic, we'll talk about Jokic because he's obviously the hot topic. Jokic is a phenomenal play. You're paying for it. He's expensive. He did it in his last game, but that's because he didn't really play. He only played like 15 minutes. But I'm all over Jokic. Whether Bogut plays or not, I'm all over Jokic. If Bogut is out, then Jokic, they don't have a rim protector. But listen, Jokic is not just about dunks or layups. The guy can hit threes. The guy can pass. The guy can rebound. So I certainly think Jokic is in a phenomenal spot. It's a pace-down spot, but he's home. I'm hoping people will get kind of back up away from him after his last game. It wasn't his fault. He didn't play. He barely played. He played like 15 minutes. But anyway, the last guy we're going to talk about is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is questionable with a heel. If Butler plays, I love Butler. Small forwards against Sacramento have been great. If Butler's out, I'll like Wade a lot more. Wade's in a phenomenal matchup already. Sacramento's horrible against shooting guards, so I do like Wade a lot. I like Butler a lot. The guy that I really like the most, though, in this game for GPPs is Rajon Rondo. And if Butler is out, I'm going to fire away on him even more. So right now, let's say I'll set my GPP exposure to about 25% on Rondo because he's 4K on DraftKings. 4K. Give me Rondo in the revenge spot. Revenge spot, Rajon Rondo playing the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento. Give me some of that. We've seen him, his minute. He might only play 20 minutes. That's fine. We've seen him put up 30-something points in 20 minutes against Philly. So that's fine. He only gets 20 minutes. I think he'll be playing hard enough, especially if Butler's out. He'll be playing hard enough to stick it to the Kings because he's a spiteful dude. That's just how Rondo is. Not that he hates I don't know if he hates the Kings or not, but Rondo is Rondo, and he's going to stick it to you. He likes to play with that chip on his shoulder. He likes to play with that attitude. He likes to be mad. So I think Rondo is very interesting. If Butler plays, I do like Wade still, but I like Butler more. If Butler is out, I really like Wade and Rondo both. So it's something to keep in mind. But I like Rondo either way, just putting that out there. It's a GPP play just for 4K. But anyway, that's going to do it for the injuries. And as you can see, I took us through the full 30. So we're a little over 30 minutes, and I just talked about injuries. So there's a lot of things going on today. It's a huge slate. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Twitter at CK_013. Again, the website is down right now for maintenance, but as soon as it gets back up and running, we'll let you guys know on the WiseTake Twitter. That's at Wise_take. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button for us. And also subscribe to the channel so that you're getting the latest. If you're listening to us on Podbean, give us a follow, leave us some comments. If you're listening on iTunes, give us a review, leave some comments, subscribe to the iTunes pod. We really appreciate you guys who watch. We work pretty hard to try to keep this informative and somewhat entertaining for you guys. I know I'm sorry if I'm not the most entertaining. I try my best, but we're trying to also be informative here and talk about DFS. But anyway, like I said, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. And make sure if you're going to play tonight, definitely a great GPP night. If you're going in cash, look for the value. If we're going in cash, look for these value guys. Check on the injuries. Injuries are the key. It's important, super, super important, especially on an 11-game slate like this. So anyway, that's going to do it for me. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can always reach out. I'm always willing to talk. Find me on Twitter at CK_013. And as always, good luck.